The rejection did not come loudly or cruelly. It arrived quietly, like a door closing without a slam, leaving only the echo of what might have been. I sat alone at a small corner table in a downtown Chicago cafe, my coffee cooling faster than my hope, watching couples laugh and lean toward each other while I stared at my phone, knowing no message was coming back. That was the night I truly believed something in me was broken. And yet, that same night, without warning, would become the beginning of a story that changed my life forever. Before the story goes further, take a moment right now. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet miracles that happen when people least expect them, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Your support keeps stories like this alive. My name is Daniel Carter. I was 34 years old, born and raised in Ohio, now living in Illinois for work. I worked as a civil engineer, the kind of job that looks stable on paper but leaves long empty evenings when you come home to silence. My parents were faithful Christians who taught me to believe in purpose, patience, and prayer. But after years of watching friends marry and build families, faith felt heavier than hope. I was not angry at God. I was tired of waiting. The blind date had been arranged by a church acquaintance named Linda, who insisted that sometimes God works through uncomfortable setups. The woman I met was polite, well-spoken, and kind enough, but her eyes never settled. She smiled the way people do when they already know the answer. After less than an hour, she excused herself with grace, later sending a brief message explaining she did not feel a connection and wished me well. There was nothing wrong with her honesty. The pain came from familiarity. I had read that message many times before, just with different names attached. Walking out of the cafe that night, the city lights blurred slightly as my thoughts turned inward. I wondered what flaw people saw so quickly. I wondered if being steady, quiet, and sincere was no longer enough. I wondered if maybe my life was meant to be useful but lonely. I sat on a bench near the street, letting the cold seep through my coat, praying without words. That was when I noticed her. She was standing a few steps away, struggling with a stroller near the curb, clearly trying to manage too much on her own. A toddler slept inside, his small chest rising and falling, unaware of the chaos around him. Without thinking, I stood and helped her guide the stroller safely onto the sidewalk. She thanked me with a tired smile that carried more weight than politeness. Her eyes looked worn, but not defeated. We did not exchange dramatic introductions. We simply stood there for a moment longer than necessary, as if both of us sensed something familiar in the other. Her name was Grace Miller. She was 32, originally from Indiana, and had moved to Chicago a year earlier. She explained she was heading home from her second job and daycare pickup, juggling responsibilities that left little room to breathe. We parted ways, but fate had other plans. Over the next few weeks, I kept seeing Grace in small, ordinary ways, at the same grocery store, at the park near my apartment, on Sunday afternoons, at a local church I had started attending again, trying to rebuild my spiritual footing. Each time, we exchanged smiles, then short conversations, then longer ones. There was no flirting, no pressure, just an ease that felt rare. Grace's life had not unfolded gently. She had married young to a man she believed would grow into responsibility and faith. Instead, he grew distant, then absent, then gone. She was left raising her son Noah on her own, balancing faith with fear, love with exhaustion. She did not speak bitterly about her past, but the quiet strength it took to survive it showed in every word. I found myself looking forward to those accidental meetings more than anything else in my week. Still, I reminded myself not to hope too much. I had just been rejected, and Grace's life was complicated. She deserved stability, not a man nursing bruised confidence. One evening after church, we sat on a bench outside while Noah played nearby. The sun was setting, painting the sky in soft gold and blue. Grace looked unusually nervous, twisting her hands together. She told me she had been praying for weeks, asking God for clarity, for courage, for an answer she did not fully understand yet. Then she said something that stopped time. She explained that she was not asking for romance or fairy tales. She said she had been watching the way I treated her son, The way I listened without trying to fix everything, the way my faith showed in actions rather than speeches. She admitted she was tired of surviving alone and afraid of choosing wrong again. Then she asked, carefully, humbly, if I would consider being her husband. There was no dramatic music, no rushing embrace, just silence, thick with meaning. In that moment, I realized how strange life is. Hours earlier, I had been the rejected man at a cafe table. Now I was being offered something far deeper than attraction. I felt fear, doubt, and disbelief rise together. Marriage was not a rescue mission. Love required more than kindness, but I also felt peace, the kind that settles rather than excites. I did not answer immediately. I told Grace I needed time to pray and reflect, and she nodded, respecting the weight of what she had asked. Over the next days, I wrestled with questions. Was I ready to be a father figure? Could I love a child not born from me with the fullness he deserved? Was this God's redirection, or my desire to finally belong somewhere? I spoke with my parents, who listened quietly. My mother reminded me that love is often disguised as responsibility, and that commitment is not always born from passion but from purpose. My father told me that being chosen for who you are, not who you impress, is a rare gift. When I met Grace again, I felt calm. I told her I could not promise perfection, but I could promise presence, faith, and effort. I said yes to exploring a future together, slowly, prayerfully, honestly. What followed was not effortless. We faced awkward moments, difficult conversations, and the reality of blending lives already shaped by loss. Noah tested boundaries. Grace battled guilt for hoping again. I confronted my own insecurities, the fear that I was a second choice rather than a chosen one. But love grew in the quiet spaces, in shared meals, in bedtime prayers with Noah, in late-night conversations about faith, fear, and forgiveness. I learned that being a husband is not about being needed, but about being willing. Grace taught me that strength and softness can coexist. Months later, standing in a small church surrounded by friends and family, I watched Grace walk toward me, Noah holding her hand. There was no doubt left in me. I had not been rejected. I had been redirected. If this story is touching your heart right now, please pause and engage with this video. Like it, share it, and subscribe if you believe that love sometimes arrives in unexpected forms and imperfect timing. Before the ending, I want to ask you something special. Please comment below with the word hope if you believe that rejection can be a blessing in disguise. Your comments mean more than you know. Today, our life is not perfect, but it is full. The blind date rejection that once felt like confirmation of my loneliness became the doorway to a family I never imagined. I learned that sometimes God removes what is shallow to prepare us for what is sacred. And sometimes, the question that changes everything is not, will you date me, but will you walk this life with me? If this story moved you, let your heart respond. You never know who might find their own second chance through it.